Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's XAUUSD webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. Tonight's webinar is Forex Trade and Live Market Analysis. Now, before we get into that, just to give you a heads up, tomorrow I'll be going through the trade setup swing point break, 7 p.m. City time tomorrow, and then on Thursday I'll be going through more live analysis, 7 p.m. City time. If you want to join me, just head over to the webinar page and register your interest there. For those in the webinar today, if you can read through the disclaimer. For those on the YouTube live stream, I cannot see the chat, but you're more than welcome to watch there or join us in the webinar. I'm giving you the link. For those in the webinar, you can use the chat box or the Q&A box to talk to me. And Azu, hello to you. Azu, you say you need my help. I'll just type a question in. All right, so everybody, please read through the disclaimer before we move along. All right, we'll move along. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper, I'm the Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at ACY Securities. Full-time trader, been trading for more than 15 years now, almost 20 years now in the Forex market. Mentoring for more than 10. If you want to contact me, my email's there, duncan.cooper@acy.com. If you want to connect with me through the week, head over to our webpage, acy.com, go to the Market News tab, or our YouTube channel at ACY Securities Australia. And if you want to connect with me personally, you get my links at my Linktree page. If you want to get access to my chart layouts and templates I'm using, just contact Nathan.bray, there for MT4. His email's there on screen. I'll put his details in the chat for you now. You can just hit him up. All right, let's get into the news items for the week. First of all, just want to make sure my screen's changing. All right, so it's actually a heavy week for news. This evening, we have the US core PPI and PPI data coming out. Usually we get the CPI before the PPI, but PPI data tonight, 10:30 p.m. my time, New South Wales time. Then Fed Chair Powell speaks at 12 a.m. Wednesday. We move into the new day. Tomorrow morning, 11:30, we have the wage price index. 10:30 p.m. tomorrow evening, we have then the core CPI data releases, core retail sales data. So month on month, year-on-year data coming out for CPI. Expecting it to be relatively the same. Maybe on month on month, we maybe just tick down 0.1%. Year-on-year, tick down 0.1%. That's what the market's expecting. Tonight on the PPI, we're expecting a slight uptick on the month to month. Thursday, we've got unemployment rate decision, employment change, not a decision, but data. So employment change, unemployment rate for the Aussie. Expecting a slight uptick on the unemployment rates. Thursday evening, 10:30 p.m., got the US unemployment claims. That data last week drove the US dollar down, so I've been interested to see what this week's claims are. All right, so the big ones are the PPI data and the CPI data there for the US. And of course, Fed Chair Powell speaks at 12 midnight tonight. So it's going to be difficult to trade around this PPI data when he's talking, and also the CPI data tomorrow. So I'm going to be stepping aside, waiting, and then see what's going on after that. So we'll have a look at what the trends are, where price is situated at the moment, and you can make a decision about what you want to do. Azu, I see you want me to talk about the pound Aussie. I'll get to that one later. So we will start with the dollar index. Now, just pulling back on the weekly chart here. This is my weekly chart. Pull back to 79% level 2 weeks ago. Last week we were kind of slightly positive. I can't really see there with my fib, but last week we were positive just. And the daily is actually down, but the weekly trend dominates the daily, so we've been up. This is corrective on the weekly. So on the weekly, this is a higher bottom, higher top. How we put in a higher bottom here to, on the weekly chart scale, move further up. Now at the moment, the market's just sitting here waiting for the data. So the data is going to determine whether or not we're going to be continuing the weekly trend up, which will potentially turn the daily trend up. So what may be happening here on the daily is that we've moved up, we pull back, and are we going to actually form a higher bottom here to continue up and within that weekly trend? Okay, that's what I maybe anticipate is going to happen. Depending on the PPI and CPI data, is going to depend whether or not this S&P 500 is going to move to a new high, or we're going to see on the weekly chart our lower top start to turn over here to come down. I've been indicating maybe that we've moved down. Is this a rally? To move down a bit deeper back to the old historical high. This is a major technical level, wasn't that major? This is a major technical level which we haven't been down to yet. So we don't have to come down to the major technical level, but this week's definitely going to confirm, are we going to put in a lower top, or we're going to continue. We're having a fresh week up this week to the previous week. So at the moment, it's not yet stopping, but certainly the data releases this week will confirm, are we just heading straight above, or are we going to have maybe another pullback down here? So difficult at the moment until we get that data release out on a number of instruments. I think it's better just to understand the positioning of the market and get yourself there sitting patiently to see what the data brings, and then what can you do after the data gets released? Unless, you may be very bullish this. It's very difficult to buying right at the top of the market or close to, but you may be very bullish and you just want to take a position for the long term. All right, let's get into the currencies now. The euro dollar, day chart. Right, weekly chart, nothing's really changing here. I can't really see my fib too well there, but on the weekly chart, this is here. This is my day chart, but this is a lower top, lower bottom. And are we putting in the lower top here over time? So we've moved down, rallied in between the 62.79% levels back to this old support area, now being resistance potentially. And you can see most recently we've moved down last week into this week and moved up. Rejection candle yesterday. Are we going to have a day down today to start putting a lower top to move down? And I'm looking at, moving down this leg, getting copied down this way at the moment. Unless we get a surprise from the inflation data from the US, that's what I'm anticipating. So, after today, if we have most certainly broken the low of yesterday, that would start to confirm potentially a move down this way. Okay. For our chart at the moment is remaining up, higher bottom, higher top. But once more, that was the job figures of the start of the month, where we sold down. We weren't able to go above that high point yesterday, and we failed at the daily chart resistance levels. 107.95 to 108.01. So pretty much 108.00 is a very difficult area for the market to move above. So we could hit that area again today if we once more fail at 108. That's really the area to watch for further exhaustion failure if we're going to continue moving down. Okay. with the longer term trend. And of course, the data could break us above 108. So a number of things could occur. 108 can be resistance this week to get retested once more to come down, or we may see a break above 108 over the data releases, and 108 becomes support to move up towards 109. Okay, over time. So 108 is the critical area to watch at the moment. Difficult to just, difficult to drop down to a lower time frame at the moment and just get in, because what's the data going to show tonight? At the moment, it is proving today, intraday, that we're down, holding at or below the central pivot point. So if you're looking for a punt, you could be getting short around the central pivot point, stop above 108 somewhere, and maybe getting lucky to go short. But you can see here 107.95 up to 108.01. Once we get into this area, we want to move back down. So again, today, if we come into this area, maybe we'll fail once more to move back down. And you could be, if this is an intraday low at the moment till the news comes out, you could be drawing a fib across that range. Looking up at the 79% level, which does pretty much come in at 108 area there. Okay. Now all the yen pairs at the moment have continually been moving up since they put that bottom in. I'm waiting really on the day chart to see if we get maybe a signal day to say we're topping out. This year at the moment, this is how I drew it out last week. This intra week high from the overall decline from here to here, we're just fractionally above, but this could be an area where we start to close below. But at the moment, it's not yet showing any strong signal of a short. It is getting high up back into all these yen pairs getting back up high into their areas where they had intervention last time. So it's difficult to get long now if you're not already long. And I'm not seeing a signal yet to get short. So I'm just monitoring to see if we do get, some kind of a turnaround. But you could, if you just wanted to get long because you don't think it's going to ever turn around now, you want to monitor the 4-hour range and look for a 62 to 79% pullback. All right. So you need to monitor that, wherever that area comes in on the chart, for then another continued move up. But the more this moves up, the more it could potentially getting ready to top out. So I'm just waiting really to look at my day chart for a signal. Day chart at the moment, you can see there's no signal. There's a bit of signal here. If we'd have broken that day's low, I may have been starting to get excited to go short. But then we had a day up Monday. That was Friday, Monday into Tuesday. So at the moment, we're kind of around 62% of that big decline, but it isn't giving us any signal. So I'm doing the same on every yen pair at the moment. I'm waiting for a signal if a short signal comes. All right. Euro pound. Now, this is where I was highlighting last week. You never got down there. We just need to adjust that fib. I'm going to move it to my day chart. Let's get rid of this block. It's actually putting in another bottom in here, so it hasn't been able to pull back to the 62-79% zone that I've been watching. So it could get down into that area though. We're having a day up today, but it could get down into this area of support. 85-75 is still the kind of area what I would be watching, assuming it can get down there, because it may be putting in a bottom in here. So if that is a bottom, and this actual 4 hours turn up to a higher top here, then you could also monitor this range now for a pullback into that 62-79% area. For a move up. Okay. Pound dollar did have a nice sell-off an hour ago or so. Now this is my 4-hour chart. This fib range is from last week's high to low. Yesterday we came up to 79% level. Now on this 4-hour chart, it also, if you drop the fib up to the highest point, there's a 62% area. So what I think is going on here at the moment in terms of price pattern on the 4-hour, and you can see this on the daily. When we moved down here last week, we broke some support areas in here that are more closely seen on the 4-hour chart. But we've got some form of maybe head and shoulder pattern forming here. Okay. Can't go back in time to that point. Maybe you might retest the area later in the day. So then you can maybe say, well, I'd like to get in short up there, but I missed it yesterday. Didn't realize maybe there was a head and shoulder pattern forming. So that's most definitely an area to watch. On the weekly scale, this is my daily chart, but this is a lower top, lower bottom. I anticipate this is now performing a lower top here on the weekly. So we've moved down, rallied to the 79% level here. And I'm anticipating over time we're going to move down. So we've actually, moving down to the 127 extension here. So we've actually moved down to here. I think this is a rally coinciding with that top over there to come down and, do its normal move down, rally, move down. So with that price action in mind, maybe we're putting in a lower top here for that 4-hour or daily chart head and shoulder pattern. And in my mind, you're looking for an opportunity to get short. Now we might come back up to retest this area. So it's well worth watching the 62 level there at 125.61. We could well come back up to that area. What I can also see is a further development of a small head and shoulder pattern maybe coming to fruition over the next day or two. So whilst we don't know what the news items are going to bring, most definitely would start to watch for now. If that's already done its final test up here, because it's hit it once and twice over the last 24 hours, this could be a left shoulder. This could be a head now as well. And this might come down and then come up to form shoulder scenario. All right. I could still come up to this area today, but so that's one option up here. Watch 125.61 again to get tested. If that doesn't happen, then we drop today. Look through the week for that kind of pattern to form. Assuming then, if we do drop today, assuming we can get a rally of any significance. All right. Now, let's just drop it down to the 15-minute chart a moment. You can see a bit of an imbalance formed on that candle. You could be watching this range now. What happens up here today, where that drop started from 79% level at 125.51. You could watch up there. Well, watch up there and the central pivot point. Central pivot point is at 125.48. So for, are we going to come up and fill that imbalance that got formed to then continue to decline? And of course, the news later in the day could come all the way back up to this zone, 125.61. All right, getting into the Aussie yen. Very my commentary on the Aussie yen is the same as I just said on the Euro yen. After that, to the 4-hour chart, after that decline that week, 2 weeks ago now, high to low, it's been coming back up within that. I did think it was maybe stalling here. This is a monthly area of resistance. Go to your monthly chart. It's this area here, 102.82. We've been hanging around that for, I think, Thursday, Friday into Monday, but we have obviously popped above there at the moment, about 50 pips. But, if we don't close above today. If we get some form of rejection up here today, you can see Friday rejected the area, Monday followed through, but we could still come back below there. All right. So for me, this is 2 hours. If you're not already long, it's too late with getting into intervention territory once more. I'm watching for a signal. Like when I saw Friday, I thought, okay, maybe we're getting signal here that we're topping out. But of course, we moved up yesterday. So, all right, so we're watching to see if we can top out. Well, of course, if we don't top out, I will be watching up here at 105.42 to see what happens at that major monthly high up there. We're in a historical selling zone at the moment, so it's not an area where I want to get long. But if I see a quite clear signal that we're topping out, it's definitely an area where I would look to get short. All right. And that may just be a simple signal that the 4-hour trend changes its trend structure to down, rally. Can we break a higher bottom? There's most definitely one here. If we can break a higher bottom, might be one in here, but that's a very clear one. If we break that one, do we come up, start seeing price action like this? And well worth watching the 79% level up here too. All right. So just monitoring to see if we start to get a reversal. Aussie dollar. Now, of course, as well in the Aussie pairs here, we have the, I think 7 minutes where you have the budget being released. Or maybe it's 7 o'clock, I'm not sure. Pretty sure it's 7:30 being on TV anyway. So that may create a bit of positivity for the Aussie or weakness. We don't know yet. At the moment, it's getting some positivity. This is my 50-minute chart in the Aussie, and we've been trying to move below 66, but you can see over the last couple of trading days, today and yesterday, once we got above 66, we can't hold below 66 for too long at the moment. However, on the other side of the market, if you go to the day chart, we can't hold above 66.24, which is this area here. All right. We've had one daily close above this top since the end of January, which was that day there. Some day in the end of March. All right. See, all these days cannot close above 66.24. So as I've been saying over the last week, we could be making a double top here. Okay. I like to be short by the 79% level of the range if it's a double top. So at the moment, when we try to move below there, we're back above. What I did notice yesterday was there is a small 79% level in here of this range. So we're definitely holding at resistance. Are we topping out? Is that double top going to hold? So on the 4-hour chart, that 79% level, take that high to low, just traded to it, filled some imbalance in here from the 1-hour chart, came up and filled whatever imbalance was left in on that candle there, and then held. So that would be the area to watch today. With that double top bias on the day chart, it's really a weekly double top. This is the area to watch today if we get back up. Anywhere above 66.24 up to last week's high of 66.47, that's most definitely a reversal zone to watch because sellers don't like it up there. And are we creating that double top? All right. So that was a move up from the job figures from the US. And then we came up to do a minor little 4-hour double top up here. Whole range moved down and retraced 79%. So I'm anticipating, unless proven different, that this has moved down. This is holding here, maybe to come this way. Unless the US data significantly changes the picture today, tomorrow. But what I would say as well, if you are positive this pair, quite clearly at the moment, intraday 66 is being support. So through the week, if we continue, if we move up, if we pull back to 60, we see some bullish price action up here today, pulling back at the moment, 66 is support. So if you're much more on the buyer side, then 66 is your area to watch for opportunities to get long. Now up here, 6624, if you're more bearish, that's the area to watch for opportunities to get short. All right, New Zealand yen. We're in the zone that I marked out, high to low of the big intervention sell-off week. Now we have at the moment, this today, moved above the monthly high that we false broke. So we're above it at the moment, but if we get a clear rejection of that level one small this week, today, tomorrow, then that may well be a signal to, look to get short. At the moment, we're coming up to test the 79% area of the decline. Not seeing a signal though. Nothing signaling a reversal just yet. But we're back into the sell area, so it's not really where you want to get long. If you are bullish this and you think it's going to move above 95.37, the final high up there at the top, you really need to have gotten long by now, so you don't have the worry over getting in and then the market reverses. The market reverses right now and you got long a week ago, or you're giving away some profit, because this is really the profit taking area and potentially the sell zone area. So I would start to monitor 94.04. If price closes back below there, or if on a day chart, or if we start to see price action quite clearly shifting to the downside to a lower bottom coming up to form some form of lower top on the 4 hour, then once you start seeing that, we could be then seeing the next good shift to the downside again. All right. So I'm looking for a shift to the downside, but this massive correction down here could have just been a corrective phase, and we could be taking out the highs that got formed on the M pairs, depending on how the market's starting to look at the data from the US this week. All right, New Zealand dollar, it's rather sideways at the moment here on my 4 hour day charts. It's giving you two times. I've been highlighting this area. The 60, 32 to 38 area, 79% retracement, and the weekly resistance area. Even though this is my day chart, that's a weekly low. That's a weekly lower top, weekly lower bottom. Go to the weekly chart. Been showing this every week. Lower top, lower bottom. Is this a lower top to continue down? It's giving you two opportunities at the moment to get short up here. May give you another opportunity today. 60.32 to 60.38. That's the area. Now, of course, data may blow price straight through there, or it may simply come up to retest the area. If you see it retest, get above, and it starts trading back below, it's telling you the sellers are just absorbing all those buy orders up at the top, getting ready maybe for a move down. All right. And that, I obviously don't know what the dollar's going to bring. There's a bit of an imbalance in here. Still hasn't been filled. So we might, want to go into that area as well. But until we take out this top, for me, we're in the sell zone of the pair at the moment and looking for an opportunity to get short if you're not already short. Quite clear this area is holding at the moment until proven different. Dollar Canadian, very range bound at the moment on the daily. Could be, of course, this is the range. And down here at the bottom, whilst not 100% textbook, this could be a left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Perfect textbook would, this high would be higher than that high. But other than that, yes, for sure, support's coming in here. So I would be watching over the next couple of days. Do we come down, back down to 136.31, even down to 136.13 to the figure 136. What happens down in this area? This is the buy zone. Up here is the sell zone. Now we're nowhere near the sell zone, so if we spike down here, start to hold, this is the area that you want to be watching for your reversal back up. All right. And you could put a fib in here if you really want to use a fib rather than supports. We've had a 79% retracement, so you could move to the 4-hour chart and just watch to see whether we come into this, into the 79% level and the support zone there at 136.31. Do we come back into there and hold to move back up? Okay, dollar franc, not doing much over the last week. It is holding below at the moment. Go to the weekly chart. It's holding below this area over here, which is actually an old monthly area of support. Now on the weekly chart, whilst we do have a nasty reversal up there, potentially this is another higher bottom because it's higher to that bottom and that's a higher top. So we could be actually putting in a support area here whilst we have a nasty candle there to move higher. So it's not in the best area at the moment. You're either a buyer or a seller on a pair. If we break below this area of support that I've highlighted on the day chart, we break below there, then clearly we're getting negative. At the moment, you can see that daily area of old support is being resistance along the line of that monthly old support low. Not easy. You know, the only thing I can glean here at the moment is it doesn't want to move above here. So if you've got much more of a sell bias, selling at 90.84, stop above. And this is support here. It's about 90.100 down to 89.70 is support. All right, so those are really the boundaries of the market until we get a clear break one way or the other. Okay, dollar yen. All right, last candle just had a bit of a sell-off. I've been watching this. This is my 50-minute chart. You know, I thought maybe we're getting some intervention here yesterday, but it was very short-lived. All right, this is my daily. So that high down to this low here is the intervention move. Just going to move to the 4-hour chart. Got two ranges here. So from that high to low, we're almost at the 79% level and a bit further up to 62 level off the bigger range. Now, when you compare this to the other pairs, like Euro yen, Aussie yen, I will head back. I didn't do the pound yen. I'll get to that in a moment. They've all moved up a little bit higher than this has moved up within the ranges that got formed when we had that intervention. So we're going to see a topping out process. At the moment, though, structurally on the 4-hour chart, it's all high tops and bottoms. So until that structure really changes, can you really get short? The more it moves up, do you want to be short because of the problem of intervention? So like the other yen pairs, I'm just waiting to see if we can get some kind of signal to maybe say, okay, we want to put in maybe the next major leg down. If you're wanting to get long on any, if you're much more on the opposite side of the market, you simply want to be monitoring these 4-hour ranges on the yen pairs and look for a 62-79% pullback for another higher bottom to form on the 4-hour chart. Okay. All right, now let's just head back to the pound yen because I didn't do that one. Pound yen is just putting a negative 4-hour candle in here. These are the ranges that I had in last week on my 4-hour. That's the big weekly reversal from high to low. Here's the other interweek range within that week. And we're at the 79% area of this high to low. A bit weaker than some of the other pairs. The Aussie yen and the Euro yen have taken out this point, whereas we can see the pound yen hasn't, the dollar yen hasn't. So again, I would still be waiting for a structural change here. This 195.88 level is this monthly high here. So we are above that at the moment, so potentially that could become support or want to be support. So you really want to see, if you want to get short this pair, you can see the last 4-hour candle tried to go below that level. It's closed back above. So you really want to see a shift below rally back up down if you're looking to get short. If today all we do is, you might want me to get in long, depending on your own thoughts. You could be watching that monthly high area. Because today, if all we do is come down now, retest 195.88 and then come back up, then you could be looking to get long, stop below here. Because this area could be now support from that monthly high. So the question at the moment is, for this pair, does that monthly high, have we moved above it to stay above it, or are we going to move back below it to stay below it? And what are we doing with all these yen pairs is not trading one in isolation of the other ones. Because if we're going to have another large sell-off, then it's very unlikely that the pound yen is going to hold above this level. All right, so we'll look at gold, which has been moving up. Day chart's back to up. Weekly chart looks like a higher bottom starting to come in. And day chart, what was resistance over the last couple of weeks, a week and a half, 23.24, is really now potentially support. 4-hour chart here. I will be watching this area if I wanted to trade gold after the news. 23.24 down to the 79% level, which is just 23.21. That would be the area to watch for support today, because break it into micro areas and ranges. We have this little consolidation, broken above. Just price then come back to the area of consolidation to hold, to then put in another leg to the upside. Okay, that's what I'd look for there in gold. Now, I say you want me to look at pound Aussie. Looks like it's maybe putting a lower top in here on the monthly. So that could lean to the idea that we're going to move back down the range. Weekly, It's gone down, bit of a week up there and down. So that's in the downtrend. I just want to see where price is in relation to this range. 6.2 area there at the moment. I mean, it's not that great at the moment. Over the last week, price action is very sideways. But the high time frames, like the monthly is putting in the lower top, the weekly is now down. The daily, now I'll just move back to the weekly here. We're kind of maybe due a bit of a rally here. Could be from that range, or it could be up to that little high there. So I would probably go to that high there on the daily. That's the daily range at the moment. And at the moment, it's struggling to get back above this area, 109.41-ish level. So I don't know whether you're long or short. Why bearish on the pound? Well, you know, compared to the US dollar, the pound's weaker to the US dollar than the euro dollar. I think it's in the anticipation that in June, maybe their central bank will cut rates. So when we're looking at the pound and the Aussie, which one of these two currencies are going to cut their rates first? Potentially the pound. All right, so that's weakness from the pound side. All right, so that's maybe why pound Aussie's going down. But I mean, the monthly's putting a lower top, the weekly trend's down. So just in terms of trend's down, isn't it? From a fundamental perspective, the market's obviously looking at the UK economy, maybe cutting interest rates first. And is their economy worse than the Australian economy? All right. All right. And Amos, shall we look at the Aussie franc? Got no idea where the Aussie franc is. Or what it's doing. All right, monthly trend is maybe bottoming out here. We do have a higher bottom, but major lower top there. Weekly trend is up, so that's more of a dominant bias at the moment. Trends up on the daily. This area here seems to be a struggle. That's that weekly high there. Just wanted to see what was back there. Right, I mean, the trends are up. This, I don't like where price is positioned though in terms of just jumping in and taking a trade though, because this weekly high here is a big struggle. So 59.94, so pretty much the 60 level is a big struggle for this pair. It's the previous month's high, 59, what is it, 59.98. Don't know whether you're long or short, but trends are up. It's in a terrible area though, just to open a trade because you're out at resistance. So overall trend bias is up, right at resistance, right at weekly resistance. You know, if you're long and if you're long and you want to hold, you want to see a good close above 60, because if you get a nasty close below 60 today, there's a high chance then you're looking for a reversal back down. can see Monday we went up, but Friday we rejected. And there's also, you can also look at this range to the sell side, just in case we are holding at these highs. 60.07, what happens at 60.07? Are we coming up today to try to move above the resistance area? But we sold down. Are we coming up to 60.07 to come down? So 60-100 area at the moment, up to 60.07, is most definitely a struggle area. So if you see weakness at that area, maybe we're going to get a reversal down. If we get a strong close above the area, then we may well be breaking out above there. So it is quite a strong resistance area at the moment as we're talking. Okay, that's my thoughts on the Aussie franc. All right, any final questions? All right, Isaiah, you tell me you're long pound Aussie. Well, trends are down. We'll see what it does. All right, thanks, Amos. All right, so I'm going to wrap things up. If you want to join me tomorrow, just head over to the webinar page. Tomorrow, I'm going to go through a trading strategy on the 50-minute chart called the swing point break. So if you want to join me for that, just come over here and register interest. That will start at 7 p.m. City time tomorrow, and then more analysis on Thursday. Okay, that's what's coming up from me. Right, so with that in mind, just be very aware of the news items coming out from the US over the next 24 hours. PPI data, Fed Chair Powell speaks at midnight, CPI data on Wednesday, so inflation data and central bank head talking. It can only mean extreme volatility around those periods of time, okay? Other than that, have a great trading day, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everybody.